inflation. So much on people's minds that it's even become the subject of a Bollywood movie. Playing to audiences in 450 cinemas across the country this past week, Sare Jahan Se Mehenga is a satire following the day-to-day routine of a middle-class family trying to cope with ever-increasing prices.
It was around Feb 2011 when we decided to make the film on inflation. At that time the prices of onion went up to 70 to 80 rupees. So that was the time when we decided that we should make the film on inflation, because inflation is something which is affecting every Indian.
Thank you. Well, the movie may well crack a few jokes at the expense of rising prices and indeed the establishment. But inflation is a serious issue, and one that the governor of India's central bank won't be having too many laughs about. For months in succession, it had cranked up interest rates as it struggled to contain runaway prices. But perhaps now that policy is starting to bear some fruit. The latest figures show that inflation picked up slightly over February, but it has remained below 7%. And while it is still high compared to elsewhere in the world, this relatively downward trend does offer some relief. There was room enough for the Reserve Bank to cut interest rates to 7.75% last month. But government, industry and many experts say it's time for more. India's growth engine is spluttering. The economy is facing its worst economic slowdown in a decade. Over the last quarter of 2012, the economy grew at just 4.5%. And for the year, it's expected to ring in annual growth of only 5%. A modest pace indeed for a country that until recently has been seen as a fast-growing emerging market power.
The growth situation is really facing severe difficulties. On top of that, at the moment, the government is really tightening its belt. So the government spending, which could have been some kind of a boost for growth, that is also terribly missing at this juncture. So some kind of support would have to come from the monetary side. So the need is even more. There had been a few dilemmas on the part of RBI. Inflation, according to them, and rightly so, is not really low enough for them to give a huge headroom. So they have to balance that. The current account situation, as they have flagged quite often these days, remains pretty high. That remains some kind of a risk. But all factors taken together, on balance, I would say there is a very clear case of rate cut as of now.
During the budget, India's finance minister pledged to reduce the fiscal deficit, a move that the central bank governor has previously said is necessary before monetary policy can follow suit. So pressure is mounting on the Reserve Bank of India to deliver an interest rate cut and help jumpstart economic growth.